add the stream. Ooh, getting all fancy with this StreamYard, yo. What's going on, everybody? Went a little bit early. I was kind of already set up, so you know. Let me know how you think of the quality of the stream. We have, like I said, we're still learning this StreamYard. If you guys are new to the channel, my name's Dan. This is Neo Mustangs. Obviously, it's my Foxbody Mustang channel, and we do live streams usually every Sunday, but sometimes we miss. It is what it is. I might start live streaming even more actually this in 2022 because I feel that's kind of where YouTube's kind of going at this point. So let me make sure that I might start live streaming even more actually. So yeah, what up, boys? So you guys see the thumbnail. We had a pretty fire video that popped up on Wednesday, and actually I got a list and a whiteboard, and we're gonna go over like that topic. Just there wasn't just 5, you know. So I mean, and there was a lot of people. I appreciate everybody that was in the comments that were you know giving me their idea, you know, some of their experiences with these cars. Are a rat nest. Like these cars are literally unsafe to drive 30 years later, and so many people have gotten their fingers into the wiring and taped this and taped or scotched whatever wiring twisty. You guys know what I'm talking about, especially in the radio area, and all that stuff is aged. So there's just a lot of things on a Foxbody that can literally take all of your money and literally burn it to the ground. And you've seen it. I mean, people, matter of fact, I was looking at Facebook on Foxbody Addicts recently. There was a poor guy was working on his car, went to fire the car up or something, and I think he said it burned the garage and everything down. I mean, the cause is unknown, right? I don't think he mentioned what it was, but I mean, how are you going to figure that out when your car is burned to the ground? And it's not just burning to the ground. It's like, you know, you get to the point to where like you have an issue with the car and then you burn up one of the harnesses and you don't know what happened. And like the car won't start, it won't move. I mean, and this goes pretty much for general mechanics at this point at all. You know, it's not just Foxbodies, but since this is a Foxbody channel, this is something that really we should be concerned about when we're building them or even maintaining them, because this is kind of a maintenance thing. It's like changing your oil. You should probably check and see, make sure that you're, you know, pop your steering column off or steering column bezel or whatever off and check it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Anyways, let's wait for a couple people. Hey, I appreciate everybody from jumping in. Like, again, this is StreamYard. If you guys notice, the quality is a lot better than what it was with OBS. Not that OBS didn't work really well, but you know, I like this one better. I can actually pin people's comments and whatever. Let me get into the comments a little bit, and then we'll get started here. I mean, obviously, you guys already know what 5 of them are if you watch the video, but we're going to talk about a handful of them in my experiences with them, and then, you know, kind of give you a little quick background. I've owned a lot of Mustangs. I mentioned it last time, and I've seen a lot. Me and Cousin Paul have seen a lot of stuff come into the shop that just was like, you know, how did that not catch fire? So, all right. So, what's up, GSF? What's up, Fat Boy Fox? Tim Webb, Jim Will. I hope he does the smallest one. Yeah, I got a whiteboard right there, bro. Hanlon Motorsports in the house. T-Top Thomas. Boston B. Good timing. I was getting ready to. I was just editing myself. All right. What's up, Stingman78? Missed you last week. That's all right. What up, Landon, Melton, Dylan Switzer? It's good to see everybody. I bought a roller in Indy last week, but luckily I be checking stuff out. Okay. Good evening, Eastern Shore Fox. Okay, so we're gonna start. I'm gonna start with the ones that we already know, right? So again, my background on my Foxbodies is I've been even with Dad's car here. We have a parasitic, a parasitic voltage drop loss. We thought it was. That's actually a good video that we might do, me and Cousin Paul. But I'm going to kind of start doing a lot of things on the channel that's not going to get a lot of views. I'm not really looking for that. I mean, I am, but like, you know, I was thinking about doing the how-to videos, like the short how-to videos, and kind of just change. You could get a lot of content out of just simply showing somebody how to properly put a hood on a car, you know. And that could be fire. You know what I mean? It could be fire for the channel because, I mean, it's all stock bottom and project budget minded anyway. So without getting off on a tangent, we've seen a lot of stuff come into the shop. And I got a couple examples here of stuff that you need to look for. But, you know, we're going to talk about them today. And I usually try to base my theme of again, if you guys have any questions not related or want to chime in, I can put your chat up here on my board. You know, like we do here. You know, Lamar is he is a good, he's a subscriber. So I can bring stuff up. So T-Top Thomas as well. He's got that 82. You can see it right there. You guys see that stuff? It looks pretty cool. So that's why I invested in this software, so I can bring people into the channel and I can actually do some really cool stuff with the chat and what have you. Still learning this stuff a lot. I mean, there's banners, there's things I haven't even messed with yet. So anyways, number 10, we're going to get started. We talked about was the fuse box. Now, I have an example to give you. I usually have an example. Here it is. Hang on a second. One light goes out, they all go out. It's like Christmas. Come on. So, and just like any Foxbody, if you're going to run the factory harnesses and stuff, you know, this may or may not relate to some of you guys, but, you know, this fuse box, we're going to start with number 10. Now, this fuse box gets burned up. I mean, this is 30-year-old plastic. See what I mean? You got to check this fuse box because you got to check literally every fuse in here. Because, I mean, you could see if it's been overloaded. For 30 years, guys, we have stuck wires in this fuse box to run all kind of damn gadgets. Y'all know what I'm talking about because I'm busted for doing it as well. And, you know, it overloads. I mean, these aren't very good wires to be doing that to. And you're talking about a 30-year-old plus harness, 30-year-old car. You know, I would have to say number 10 would definitely have to be the fuse box. Just like, I mean, we're going to talk about this from the video, but there's probably 6 or 8, 10 other ones that I didn't talk about in the video that we're going to get to. But we're going to talk about this a little bit without the editing because I felt this conversation, I really felt that video didn't do a whole lot of justice, and that's why I brought it here to the live stream. So check your fuse box for burns. You'll definitely see it melted. It's all browned up or whatever. So we're going to use that as an example again here in a second. But I'm going to bring out the whiteboard, and look, I don't have a permanent marker, so I don't have to make my board red again. Hang on, I'll get into the chat. Number 10, fuse box. Y'all see that? Check your fuse box. Look for brown, melted, extra wires that shouldn't be there. You know, we've all done it, man. We've all done it a lot. Doomsday, War Admiral. What's up, War Admiral in the house? All shit, Blue Oval Media in the house. What's up, Blue Oval Media? How we doing today? What's up, Kenny Sean? Boy, Dad's car looking nice. I appreciate that. We actually, I just switched the car. I just switched the car today because we're going to be doing stuff on Dad's car. I promised you guys a dyno video. I don't know if my AFR looks okay. I might stick the supercharger back on it. If the you know, we might do nitrous. I mean, I don't know if I want to do too much nitrous on a speed density, but that is a wet shot, so I think it'll be fine. I don't know. Man, I hate these Foxbody fuse boxes. Hey, so here's a guy, Blue Oval Media. We'll use him as an example. We'll bring him up on the board. Kenny, do you use your actual? Everybody knows that KSD Notch on Instagram, Blue Oval Media on Instagram, his notch back is a Terminator swap. So my question is, Kenny, did you still use your Foxbody dash? Because I would imagine the dash harness that is, or did you integrate all the new harness into the old dash harness, or was that something that you went through? So I'll be waiting for his response. Now, Dad's cars, let me tell you what, man, ain't nothing in my garage is ever perfect. There's nicks and scratches and chips, and you know, I really want to paint my black car this year, but it is what it is. Amperage going through the bad wires. That's correct. So what happens in these 30-year-old, going back to the fuse box, and then I'll get back in the chat. What happens with these 30-year-old fuse boxes is they just get overran, man. I mean, you get a lot of resistance through the wiring. You know, they actually, when they're overloaded, they turn brown. Like if you've ever peeled back an old wiring harness, like you literally need to cut back to where it's clean copper looking. See what I mean? And that goes for, let me give you an example. I mean, how about this? Like you see how brown this wire is? I'm trying to get my camera to zoom in on it. This is really dark. Now, obviously, this is something that I'm going to be talking about, but like as soon as I cut this back about 1.5 feet, the wires all turned nice and copper clean and they weren't all beat up. So I wired my new pigtail into that. And so I haven't, you know, the new harness and then the dash is straight to the Holly setup. So you have a new dash harness. So your dash, so you got, I guess what I'm asking, Kenny, is since it's a Terminator swap, you actually replaced the dash harness. You don't have that in there. You don't have that fuse box. So I was always curious about that. T-Top Thomas, man, I appreciate the $4.99 super chat. I asked in live before, stock 302 HCI on 3 turbo install soon. Would my B cam be good enough, or should I swap to a different cam? All right, check this out, T. If you watched, you've been watching my channel a little bit. I do a lot of stock bottom end stuff. That's why our dad's car is the way it is right now. Stock bottom end GT40. You guys see me build the motor. You could run the stock cam if you wanted to and make block splitting power. I did it on the black car before it was a stroker or a 408 or whatever. So yeah, it definitely B cam would absolutely stock 302 HCI B cam. If you're running pedestal mount rockers, T-Top, make sure that you can I pin that? Make sure that you maybe try to run like a 172 rock, because the B cam will, if I remember correctly, the B cam, and Donnie B can actually answer this question because I've seen him sneak in chat here just a second. He's pretty good with the Anderson Ford Motorsport stuff, which is pretty much whatever the lighter cams. But anyways, run the Cobra rockers. Like remember the F3ZE rockers? Those are, you know, make sure you get the right push rod length. You might have to go up a size, but yeah, I mean, run the B cam, man. Run what you brung. Don't worry about buying another cam. Now you can buy another cam and spend $350, and Donnie B is going to shoot me through the camera for saying this, figuratively speaking. But you know, you could run an N41 and gain 10 horsepower. I mean, stock bottom end's only going to make so much power. Remember that. Donnie B, what's up, Neo? Nothing like butchered wiring harness. That's right, man. We got a bunch more to talk about too. So let me get back into it here in a minute. What's up, War Admiral? Yep, I seen that. The old harness is not integrated into the new dash. Okay. Okay. So I appreciate you answering that, because I was always curious with like Coyote swaps, and I was curious with like the Termi swaps, what wiring harnesses did you, what wiring harnesses did you guys still use? I know your whole engine bay harness is gone, which injector O2s, if there's even any of that, even maybe your headlight harness. So I was really curious about that. It's actually a good video, because I know you did I didn't get a chance to watch your last video. I think that has something to do with, maybe it says something to do with what I'm asking. But I'm definitely, as a Foxbody, you know, guy, curious, what all did you have to take out of your car to make that swap work, like wiring wise? What's up, Neo Mustangs? 3 months until season starts back up. That's correct. I like hearing that, my man. It gives me hope. Regular Guy Garage, T-Top. Depends on the power level. You're looking, yeah, would give you power over a B cam, decent sheet. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you want to make, to be honest with you. RGG kind of chimed in on that too with T-Top. You know, it all kind of depends on what power level you want to make, T-Top. If you want to make like 500 wheel, you'll do that on a B cam at around, with an HCI at around about 10 or 11 pounds. I wouldn't think that would be a problem. And to be honest with you, a 302 really comes into its own around 10 or 11 pounds. So HCI, 10, 11 pounds, small turbo, stock cam, B cam, all day, every day. Okay, that's good. You already got the comp 1.7s. That's good. A Tremec TKX though. So what Mustang running again? Okay, let me answer this question. I'll get back into my my list. So I got my Mustang running again after $600 A9P. It was the fuel pump. Oh, that sucks. Sorry to hear that. What's up, Nathan Tuck in the house? One of my oldest subscribers or members. If you guys want to check out that join button below, it's part of the membership. The guys in green with the emojis are part of the channel. They support the channel. So I always shout out some of my members. Kenny M is as well. So we'll keep rolling. So the harness is left on my car from the factory is for the lights, doors, and locks. Okay. Got it. So number 4 from last week was the battery cables. So we're going to say that's number 9. So battery cables, we're going to continue rolling and talking about it. Battery cables will cause you all kinds of issues because they become loose. They're not tightened down on the actual, you know, if you're running the old factory ones, you got to check to make sure, like I was talking about earlier, about the wires being super brown. They start getting resistance. They get burned from the headers. You know, the grounds aren't proper. There's a 10 gauge ground that's supposed to come off that actually meets the fender well. That actually is very important for the ECU harness. That's usually missing or cut or whatever. Battery cables will cause a fire, maybe not in most sense, more than at the starter than anything. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I just put that on my video because I felt that was important because if you think about it, a lot of us move that stuff to the back. So when you're relocating a battery to the back, you definitely want to find, like, I took my grounds and I put them right there on like the frame rail itself. So, you know, the way the Foxbody wiring harness and pretty much all electrical harness is going to find the ground that's of shortest, you know, of least resistance. So having a lot of grounds isn't really a bad thing. So we're going to put that as number 9. It's pretty cool that you can show us what you question you're answering. Yep. Lock the Fox with the super sticker, man. I appreciate the $9.99 supporting the channel, dude. Man, Lockness has always been supporting the channel for a long time. So I appreciate you, man. Robert. Let's see. Lewis, what remedy do you have for rusted towers? Wow. Cut it out. You pretty much got to cut it out. Now you could take a tower. It's funny because I think we did. Cousin Paul and them put one up. I was just selling recently, but you could cut the tower out and you could weld the section in. You know what I'm saying? It's not all that difficult. If it's not too deep, I've had to repair my black car's towers. My black car is not in perfect shape. That's why I never worried about what it looked like for the most part, but it's an original paint car and it's not terrible, but you can definitely see the age in it and definitely the abuse that I put on it. I have a Dart Iron Eagle 363 on the way. Nice. Nice. Anyone have Holly HP? Okay, so he's asking GSF is looking for an HP. MK, I got a 93. It starts and idles fine. Here we go. I got a 93. It starts and idles fine, but when I rev it, it bogs out and stalls. Timing. But if I hold the clutch in and rev it, it'll come down and idle just fine. So you got a code 67 issue. Most likely you got an issue with your neutral safety circuit. So code 67, go look up code 67 for Foxbody. And if you've changed your computer, that'll do it too. All right, so next one up, and then I'll get to Stephen King's comment. Number 8 last week was the AC wide open throttle. Now, see, I surprised y'all with that one. I surprised all y'all with that one. I mean, look at this. I just showed you this. MK, it's there's something wrong with the circuit. So most likely you want to check the neutral safety switch runs through the pigtail that runs to the side of the transmission. Check that one out too. If it bogs real bad, it sounds like you might have a that's a tough one. let me think about that a little bit. Anyways, that's the AC wide open throttle switch. This is found on the side of your factory engine harness for people who are not swapped. This is a nightmare, dude. These two of these wires are bare. Now imagine you driving down the track or driving down the street, chilling with your dudes or your ladies or whatever, and these two wires touched each other. That's gonna burn that up. Car shut off. ECU just shuts off. No idea why. This is that shit why your car doesn't run. Like, this is the demons that'll happen. But anyways, this is down on the engine harness, down by the O2 plug-in and over by the mass air harness. So I mentioned that in my video because I thought that was super duper duper important, because a lot of people don't know that that's actually hidden. You can't really find that. It sits underneath of the mass air meter down below. It's all burned up from the headers. That's pretty much what it's from. A lot of heat there. So yes, you can, T-Top. Can everyone help out Neo and hit the thumbs up? I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Does a 98 tower fit? No. Zero deck block. That's good. I always zero. I pretty much zero deck all my blocks. Clutch cable itself, it's possible. It's possible. Let me think about that some more. So, moving on. We're already like 22 minutes in. Jeez, oh Pete. Oh, I got to put it on my board. So I'm doing the ones that were on my video. I know not all y'all watched it, and that's okay. But, you know, I figured I would put this in a live stream area because it's definitely something that needs to be talked about. And actually, the nice thing about the live streams is I save all my live streams, so you can go back and watch them later on. You know what I mean? So again, what is this? Okay. Anyway. I don't know why I'm drinking coffee at 8:20. All right, so AC wide open throttle. Number 2 from last week would be that good old stupid GT switch. You guys know what I'm talking about. I know you do. All right, so behind your GT switch, all right, and this is for those guys. Hell, I think this is for everybody, really. I'll be right over there. Hold on. Well, I got 2 convertible switches here, not a GT one. Another convertible. Cousin Paul. It's Cousin Paul's fault. All right, so behind this GT switch, which is super easy, and I'll get back in the chat here in a second. Well, behind the GT switch on the bezel, this is super easy to take out with the screwdriver, okay? Behind that, look, it's 2 plugs. This is the GT lights, also good for nitrous, and scramble buttons, and this is the plug. Now, the plugs are not sufficient. They just suck. And I showed this in my video. It wasn't this one, though. Where was it? It's over here. I showed this in my video. Y'all got to be careful. This is an 89 harness out of an 89 car, and this is what happens to them. They get all, look at that. I'm just about to break that thing apart myself. See the burns? This thing gets too hot. Now, there's pigtails that can fix that. But the problem is by the time you figure out you got a problem, you don't have any interior and your car's melting down. You know what I'm saying? So, whoa. Stop messing with my internet. So that's a big one. The GT headlight switch is probably one of the worst ones of them all. Period. End of story. And again, it's found behind, you know, the GT switch. And then another thing you need to figure out is pulling the wires to make sure that there's little plastic locks inside of these. All these pigtails can be changed. Like if the wire isn't burned up, you can replace the actual plastic part of the GT switch. So that's a nasty one. That's a secret hidden. It happens on LXs too. Just old, burned up, too much heat. You know what I mean? And like I said, I put that in my last video on Wednesday, and I did the same thing I just did now. So number 7, am I counting wrong? Yeah, number 7 is GT headlight switch. No, that was number 2. Fuse box, battery cables, whatever. All right, so back in here. T-Top Thomas, I appreciate the new membership, my man. Welcome to the channel membership. Lewis, I appreciate the super sticker for supporting the channel, my guy. Thank you so much. Let me answer this guy here. Blake Myers. I'm trying to catch on my chat here. Why am I wrong on my numbers? Fuse box, cables, AC wide on throttle switch. Did I miss one? What the hell? Should be whatever. Anyway. Blake Myers. I have a 5.0 carb swap LX. It's been running fine. I went to start it the other day and it cranked up but died. Now it's acting like it's not getting any fire. Check your DuraSpark. Do you have a DuraSpark on it? Check to make sure you got spark. GSF, I got a CNC Motorsports. Oh, okay. Turbo Man, do you have you roll your fenders to fit wheels? How hard is it to roll fenders? You know, Paul DeFox just did that. I thought he just did a video. There's about 10 different videos on YouTube how to do that, Turbo Man. But to be honest with you, to roll fenders, not a big deal. I got the Eastwood tool. It's about 150 bucks, and it's like a big roller skate wheel. The worst part about rolling the fenders is cracking the paint, chipping the paint, whatever. So, you know, you got to be careful with it. It'll do that to your car. My headlight switch connector was crusty in mine. Yeah. So they actually make a pigtail for that headlight switch in general. They actually make a pigtail for that. So if your wires are all jacked up, like I said, and they're brown and they're burned or whatever, just cut the pigtail back. You know, do some soldering or do some proper wire, you know, reintegration and do it right. You know what I mean? There's actually a mod for a relay for that as well. I have what's this? I have an APX AFC on a 90 GT in tuning. I'm not sure what that is. What's that? Donate. I appreciate that. Oh wow, you can cut them off. Yes. My turn signals don't work, but my hazards work fine. What do I do? It's probably your multifunction switch. So guys, when your multifunction switch starts to go bad, some things will work, some things won't. When your wiper module goes bad, you know, all your wipers will just be on high constantly, or it just won't work. And so they kind of run in tandem. You see what I mean? But he said it's probably your multifunction switch. All right, so Nicholas Out, what's up? Do aftermarket wiring harnesses address these issues? Actually, aftermarket wiring harnesses are pretty good because it's all new stuff. Problem is they don't make direct replacement factory wiring harnesses. I mean, they get close, but it's always, you know, when you're putting like a Holly dash in like Kenny has at Blue Oval and, you know, doing a Terminator or Coyote Swap or doing any sort of wire integration, it's always good to use a new harness. This video I need right now. My Fox just had its first no start Christmas Eve in micro squirt. Welcome T-Top. You're welcome, bro. I had an issue with my headlight switch on my 83. My high beams would cut out. Too much heat, melted the plastic. I'm telling you, man, it's all hidden in your car. Like, it's not something you should lose sleep about, but it's definitely, if you're going to go out there and change the oil on your Foxbody, if you're going to do maintenance on the transmission, it's just normal maintenance. Check this. It only takes a minute to pull the switch out. This is a big one. This headlight switch, this is a big one. And we'll continue talking about the other stuff. I'm going to get a T1000 cutter wheel. Just do it right. That's all. Make it look good. I would just flatten it. But That's just me. So moving on. Fuse box, battery cables, AC wide open throttle relay. Obviously, I can't count. Yeah. So, number 1 from the video, which is going to be number 6 today, is the ignition. Now, you probably say to yourself, what are you talking about? You know, the ignition. See that? Now, when you're checking your ignition, you got to take your steering column bezel off, and this is what happens to your ignition. That's this white box isn't supposed to be with this pigtail. You know what I mean? Like this is supposed to still be attached to the steering wheel, which I did over here. I showed it in the video, and I'm gonna show it again. This is a hazard. This will cause a no start. This will cause all kind of damn problems. See that? It just falls out. Where are we out here? Are we missing? Are we missing the cage? We are. Anyways, it's usually attached right here. It just falls out. Like it gets broken because it's got a slider wheel on it. You can see how much wear is on that. This is pretty common. Now, if you get an ignition switch, don't get some cheap shit. Don't do it. You're gonna regret it. Get a Ford tooling, a Ford repo. You know, get a good switch, bro. Don't screw around. That's gonna go bad on you in a year. You know what I mean? What's up, Funky 50? Funky 50. I usually jump in his live streams on Friday night and BS a little bit here and there. He's got his own little channel. If you want to go check his channel out, obviously, Blue of Media Kenny Sean too. He was here earlier in the chat. If he's still here, go check his channel out as well. So, 83 GT trying to figure out the whole white and black strap wire push connector on the engine bay. Wraps to the front of the motor, starter mounted side of the motor. I'm not sure. I'm not real good with the 83s. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm sorry. One. Anti-ratchet. TFI is another issue for Fox bodies. Yeah, that's definitely a problem, but this is more of like a hazard thing. I had one and got hot in my car, would miss and stuff. Right. So that's like an ignition problem. Like there's just so many things that you could talk about on live streams and on videos that directly relate to making your Fox body run better. And that's a good one. That's definitely a good one. TFI, the PIP inside the distributor, that shit goes bad. People don't even know what that is. Stripper cars don't have these issues. Daniel Fox, my 90 Fox. What's up, Daniel Robinson? My 90 Fox and my Crown Vic had ignition fall apart. That's right. Just what I was saying right there. Funky 50, all 3 of my Fox ignition switches broke. Yeah, they're just, and these are things that will catch your car on fire. They will just smoke and melt your wiring harnesses. They'll cause fusible link issues. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot to be considered here. What's up, Broken Tool? So we're going to move on to the new ones. Now, you guys have heard me say the fuse box, the battery cables, the AC wide open throttle, GT headlight switch, and the ignition. So we're going to start getting into the ones that are kind of the ones that I didn't mention. And you guys are going to start shaking your head. So for number 5, we're going to go with the cigarette harness. The cigarette harness. Yeah. So underneath of the console, in the center console, is a cigarette harness. There's a push button. You know, you guys remember the old cigarette lighter where you pushed it in and it got hot. And there was obviously, you know, in the 80s and early 90s, well, in the 80s, 70s, whatever, it was really, really cool to smoke. And there's nothing wrong with people who smoke, but like one of the side effects to that is that burn that harness up all the time. And underneath, I don't know how many consoles me and Cousin Paul has taken apart that literally the console was melted underneath and the carpet was melted. You know, it's not real difficult to get to and check. You know what I mean? So I guess what I mean is underneath the console here, I'll show you. I got all these examples and shit. Cousin Paul just happens to have a dirty old console sitting over here. You know, people be putting stuff in there they shouldn't. But, you know, you got these old consoles here. And, oh, hang on a second. And this is the harness I'm talking about. Usually, look how small the wires are. Why would that be a heat source? Like, we've seen this. Man, it smells. We've seen this all burned up and melted. And, you know, people that smoked back in the day, you always see a lot of these consoles that are like, you just got cigarette stuff all over them. And, you know, Cousin Paul would actually restore this really nice, to be honest with you. But the problem is it's got 2 holes in it. So there's not a lot of people that want to mess with that. Anyway, the cigarette harness is definitely a concern. Maybe not so much now, but it could turn into a concern considering there's a carpet sitting right there. So if it got hot or the wires were old or, you know, they started touching and spark or whatever, I mean, the carpet is like like a hay bale. It's just going to go up in a heartbeat. So there's so many little issues that I can tell you guys that you can just kind of go through this live stream and go through your car and check them out and at least alleviate the problem. So maybe we can save some Foxbodies from getting burned down. You know what I mean? So that's the whole point of doing live streams like this, is to kind of give you an idea, take my experiences. I mean, I can't take this to my grave. So I gotta try to give out all the information I can between now and hopefully 50 years from now. So, what's up? Found a short one for 5 sig harness. And that's part of the body harness too. So we're going to put body in there. Found one sig harness that resulting in parking lights coming on by themselves. Yep, right under the seat. Sig harness. Now, the next one I'm going to talk about actually goes back to the ignition. We're going to talk about alarms. Don't even get me started with alarms, bro. Protected by Viper, back up. Y'all remember that shit? That was actually in a song, but whatever. Yeah, Viper alarms, all the alarms, hateful alarms. Yep. So underneath of your ignition, which is right here, literally, a lot of these cars legitimately have alarms that have been either cut out, snipped out, just a mass produce amounts of wiring garbage or whatever. But one of the things that they like to do in the 80s and 90s is we like the Scotch lock. You know, just take a Scotch lock and just thought that was the coolest thing, man. Didn't have to splice any wires. You just put that in there and the wire's done, man. Well, those things come loose. They do fall out. And one of the biggest problems that I always have with alarms is it not only controls your car, but it can create a fire hazard, because you got a lot of these wires that, and I'm going to caveat as a side bonus on top of that alarm situation, these wires are just kind of all over the place and they're in control of your ignition and your locks on your car and whatever, man. So, yeah, so it's like, it's something that if your car's got an alarm in it, it needs to be 100%. I mean, if you're not going to use it and you're not interested and you're not using it now, it needs to be 100% removed from the car. Don't just cut it out, because, you know, those Scotch locks are eventually going to, you know, are going to fall apart, or, you know, it's just not a good idea. And then most likely, if there's an alarm in there, there's sections of wiring that are uncovered as well. So, and this goes like this. Pretty much goes for all cars for the most part. But Foxbodies have. I mean, it. You know, 50% of my Foxbodies I've ever owned had them in there. I had to take them out. You have violated my perimeter. So that would definitely be the alarm. But I'm going to put a alarm I'm going to add something to that. Alarm plus plugs. Now, I did terrible with that. And I even made it a bigger mess. Alarm plus plugs. Whatever. Now, you probably say, well, what plugs are you talking about? I'm talking about these plugs right here. Found in the same spot as the alarm. See these? Well, let's see if one of them's. Look at that. Watch this. Look. This is one of the multi-function switch wires. See what I'm talking about? I didn't break that. Look at this. This one's pulled out too. Look. See that? Crazy. Look. Oops. Am I on the wrong one? Yeah, I'm on the wrong one. Just pulls right out. What happens is these plugs, they just, well, this is the one that had the bad GT switch. These plugs, they just start falling apart. See that? Look, there's another one. See that? There's little plastic locks inside of these plugs. Now you can get these plugs. Don't cut your wires. You don't have to cut any wires. You just take a little screwdriver and you pop the pin out and put it in the new plug. You see what I'm talking about? Well, look at this. These things fall apart. And what happens when this wire, no, I'm lost. What happens when that wire meets that wire for no reason underneath the dash? This will happen. It's crazy. So that's what I mean by alarm and plugs on number 4. That I didn't do, and I had no idea those wires pulled out. I just knew that one of them would. Because pretty much on every Foxbody, it's normal. You know what I mean? That's just normal. Okay, moving on. Let me answer some comments here. Can a starter plug 3G alternator for Foxbody burn down in your car? Okay, so we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that here in a minute, Jenny. I actually owned scrapped a Foxbody that will not run now unless it's in a start position. Also, NIP, the ACM to swap the NIP. I actually own a sapped Foxbody that will not run. Swapped, you mean? Will not run now unless it's in the start position. Probably has something to do with your neutral safety circuit. I'm telling you. Little pigtail down by your transmission. It's got a loop wire on it that pops out, just like that one did. Anyone know where I can buy a new factory sunroof for these Foxbodies? I think we got one on the website. Stephen King, I saw 1 or 2 for sale not too long ago. Starter sale. Who sells new plugs? NPD. Actually, you guys would be surprised. Like the Dorman brand, whatever, like the generic Dorman brand, you'd be surprised on what your actual local parts store can get their fingers on when it comes to these plugs. Like I ordered a bunch from NPD. I got all the plugs for the most part, the ones that are usually a problem. You know what I mean? So is it worth? Let me catch up. I got a replacement light switch pigtail, but the pigtail in the car has 4 wires, not 6, and the lights still work. So I haven't. Bama 5. Every once in a while, I find good stuff. Yeah. So Rock Auto, my bad. NPD, Rock Auto has a ton of shit. Your local parts store, like I said, don't hate on them. They're a good one to go check out. I actually bought a handful of ignition switch pigtails from them. Now, I mean, you got to go with what you can get. So is it worth the wiring? Okay. So is it worth to remove wiring harness and refresh it, check plugs, remove and replace? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you guys a hidden way to do this. Watch. It's not a hidden way, but it's what me and cousin Paul like to do. So it's definitely not rocket science, but you know, when we can't find plugs, we're trying to fix Foxbody, you know, we're trying to fix our harnesses. Well, I mean, we don't do this all the time, but enough that it's worth talking about. So we got one, you know, if we got one wire that's popping out or whatever, okay, and you know, we'll use that one that we were just talking about. So you got that one wire that's popping out. Where you at? So what we like to do here, if you guys can see me do it, we put it back in its location, which was right. No, on this plug. Wrong plug, son. Right plug, son. There we go. So we'll put it back in its location. And what we'll do is we'll zip tie. Now what this actually does, we'll push them in like this real close. You guys see that? I know it's kind of hard. And then we'll lock them. See what I mean? So we'll do it. We'll put two zip ties in the same spot. See that? So now this wire that's actually was loose, that was pulling out, now is zip tied to the other wires that are still in the connector that aren't pulling out. So one of the things that we do with our Foxbodies is we put two zip ties on all of these plugs. This is what I do when I restore dash harnesses when I sell them. Like I'll go through and check all these, put two zip ties in there, and then I'll back it up with just some simple electrical tape. It ain't got to be pretty. So what's this do is this makes all these wires accountable for each other. It's okay, they're all zip tied together for heat or whatever, it's fine. But now this plug or this wire is not going to fall out of that connector. You see what I mean? So I hope that helps somebody. Anyway, know where I can get a 93 cargo cover? That is a tough one. Yeah, super glue is not a bad idea either. Stick a little super glue in it. So fixing like little cannon plugs like that is kind of really important because, you know, if you go into your dash harnesses, and this goes to any of your harnesses, and you're finding, you know, pull on each one of the wires to make sure they're not sliding out, and then zip tie it, tape it together, super glue it. That's a good one. So I just spent $400 about an hour ago on NPD. They had a best price on motor mounts. LMR had no motor mounts on their site. NPD is just a great site. Like I'm not sponsored really with anybody. Hanlon's a partner. We've been sponsored by them to get stuff. I promote Hanlon because I'm good friends with their family. I've been doing business with them for 15 years. You've heard me say that before. But I don't lean towards one person or the other. I don't lean towards, Anderson Ford Motorsport, but they're kind of one of the sponsors of the channel as well. I don't lean towards LMR. I don't lean towards American Muscle, CJ Pony Parts. I'm just going to tell you guys my honest opinion on some of these websites. Rock Auto's always been a good go-to especially for, cannon plugs and such, and just those odd parts. And so is an NPD, especially for Foxbody. So, and that's no knock on any of the people I just talked about. It's just the way it is. Recommend catback 347 daily driver. Middle of the road, obnoxious. Borla. Funky what? Which one? Okay. I need sponsors. If you have a Hanlon Motorsports transmission in there, you will. Tell them, Andrew. So, number 3 is, we were talking about the dash harness. Okay, so number 3 is one that you guys are going to laugh at, but actually, you guys aren't going to laugh at this one at all. It's your fuel pressure. It's your fuel pump relay. Underneath your seat in 87 to 91 car, Foxbodies, 87 to 91, 87, 88, 90, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, so 5 years, there is a green relay. That wire, the pink and black wire, is the power wire. Is that the signal wire? Shit, I can't remember. I can't tell you how many Foxbodies. I can't tell you how many Foxbodies I brought home to fix, flip, part out, rebuild, whatever. I bought them from the buyer, from the seller, and they can't get the car to run. So they got it on a toggle switch. And then I look right under the seat, and there's a corroded wires. Where's my floor harness? There's corroded wires, and one of the wires for the fuel pump relay isn't even there. So I'm going to use this convertible harness. I'm going to use this convertible harness as an example. It's right here. It's underneath of the seat. It's green. See that? Oh, wait. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Pink and black. Told you. That's a faded black, too. Oh, no. It's pink and black's here a second. Look how small these wires are. Runs your pump. This is the corroded. I mean, you got to check these wires. There's been a lot of them. A lot of them. And you got to check this relay itself. Like, that's got a little bit of crust in it. I bet you half of the body harnesses I mess with, this relay's always got a lot of water, corrosion. You know what I mean? And this pigtail is easy to get. That's just a standard green relay pigtail. So definitely the underseat green fuel pump relay. Now that also goes for the 92, 93 guys, because your fuel pump relay is on your engine harness, and your engine harness is, it's on the passenger side of your engine harness with the mass air meter. So fuel pump relay, under the seat fuel pump relay. You got to check that one with its wiring, and you got to check the one that's next to the ECU. It's brown. It's an E3ZC number. And it also can get real crusty and stuff. Just need to know what to use to cap off my third hole in my On3 tank. I'm not sure. You're talking about fuel tank? War Admiral, for real, I built both of mine out of my own pocket. That's good. This is built, not bought here, too. Okay, so number 3 was the underseat fuel pump relay. You guys can chime in on some of these if you need to. I know it's like we're in school and shit. This is like a boring math class. I got to do something. I mean, the live streams, man, I don't do these live streams to try to be a know-it-all. It's just, I can't do a live stream without actually talking about like a topic. You know what I mean? I enjoy doing this stuff, and I don't mean to try to discredit anybody that they don't know what they're doing, and I'm over here trying to pat myself on the back. So I want you guys to think that. But anyways, number 3, fuel pump relay under seat and at ECU. Boom. We got 2 more here. We already talked about the radio. I actually brought the radio up on the video. So we're going to leave the radio off that for now, because I only want to do 10. And the next 2 are big ones. So probably one of the biggest issues with Foxbodies, and there's, I'm going to put I don't know if I should put these all in one. You guys can kind of give me an idea. We're closing in on 1 hour, so, and then we'll chat about what's coming up on the channel here in a little bit. But number 1 or number 2 is I'm going to have to say a failing fuel pump regulator, excuse me, a failing fuel rail fuel regulator will actually seep oil or seep fuel through the vacuum. And what happens is that vacuum normally isn't like just like zip tied down. It's usually just plugged in there. So if your regulator it starts to really go bad, it'll show fuel in the hose. Does that make sense? And this usually goes for the stock rails, people that run fuel pressure regulators on the, you pop the vacuum off and start the car, it'll run. And if there's fuel coming out of your fuel pressure regulator right there at the vacuum source, then your regulator's bad. And what happens is the worse it gets, the easier it is for that vacuum to pop off. And then it's just spraying down your engine with fuel, with fuel. So, I mean, yeah, that's a big one, and we'll talk about the next one right after that. But that's definitely number 2. At Big Block Madness needs a question answered. Okay. I appreciate that, T-Top. My On3 fuel tank question has more in-depth description further up in chat. All right. So you have an On3 fuel tank. You talking about the triple hat one? I need to know what to use to cap off my third hole in my tank. Third hole in your tank. I'm not sure where that hole's at. Whoops. I'm not real familiar with On3's tank. I mean, I'm sure it's the design of a factory tank that they modified. So on the top of the tank is a vacuum that needs to be there. There's a big hole. It's about this big. There should be a vacuum source. That's a vacuum source. Every tank needs a vacuum. The more the more fuel you're pumping, the bigger the vacuum needs. Like mine's a -6. I have a -6 vacuum on both of my black and my white car's tank, which I'm probably going to go to a -8, but I think -6 is plenty big enough. I think that's what, 7/16 or something like that. So you need a good vacuum source. So if you're talking about that third hole, because you got your hat area that plugs in, you got your sending unit that plugs in, and then there's that third hole. Is that the one you're talking about with the vacuum on the top? Let me see. Tom Allen, I appreciate the super sticker, my dude. Appreciate you supporting the channel. I appreciate all the super stickers, all the stuff from the channel. We give away some pretty big stuff at the end of the year, and we're gonna do one for 4th of July. So I don't really spend any of my YouTube money at all. So I appreciate you guys that do support and all the members. Allows me to do some really cool stuff. So anyways, let's see if he answered. There are 3 holes on the top of the new tank. There's 3 holes on the top of the new tank. Well, like I said, if you don't have a factory tank, I'm pretty sure one of those holes is your vacuum source. Like they actually have like a little vacuum thing that you can plug in there with a grommet. It's about that big. It's about as big as that. And maybe a little bit smaller. Rattle trap at Big Block stock tank. The hole above the fuel pump is the breather hole, like I was just saying. Would you rather Coyote swap or build a stroker? Found an 18 Coyote with a Tremec 3650 for 445 OBO. So let me before I talk about my number 1 fuel madness, I want to talk about, we'll answer this question. The Coyote swap, if you can get, it only makes sense if you Coyote swap a car, is if you catch a deal. If you catch a deal like that, it only makes sense that you do that. Now, am I knocking the Coyote swap? No, that's not what I'm saying. I know the Coyote swap done right is expensive. It's what, 7, 6, 7, 8, 10 grand. T-Top can chime in on this. It's not cheap. In building a stroker motor, you're going to be in it $5K anyways. You're talking assembly, machine work, cylinder heads, intake, you're going to be in it way more than 5K. So you got to kind of weigh out what you want to do. My 363 engine cost me every bit of 7,500, $8,000, and so did my 408. And I already own some of the parts. So if you can catch deals, it only makes sense to, if you're going to catch a good deal like that, hell yeah, all day Coyote Swap, all day Terminator Swap, whatever you need to do. You know what I mean? So don't feel bad about that, Blake. I think you're doing great with that. And if you're going to, definitely go with that. Definitely go with that. You like that stance, Nate? It's all right. Just some old stock springs. $10K minimum. Yeah, so I mean, you know, the factory swap and T-Top Thomas, if you guys don't know who T-Top Thomas, obviously you can see him right there. I think you guys could see his GIF pretty easy, right? It's pretty big right there. You can see his 82 right there in his little profile. And he's got a Coyote Swap in that, much like Caleb Richards does over at Foxcast Media. Anyways, he's also on Instagram. So, wait, did I bring you up? I appreciate you, Tommy Allen. I do appreciate you. I just wanted to bring you up on the board. Anyways, back to T-Top. He knows a lot about Coyote Swap, and that's why I asked him that question. It only makes sense if you're going to get a Coyote Swap with a trans for $4,500, you can hear it run and everything, do it. I mean, you're going to be about $2,500, $3,000 or more into the integration of the wiring harness, if I remember correctly. And T-Top Thomas can tell me that too. Whoa, there he is. I know you're out there, bro. I need to try to bring you in here. I need to try to bring you into the chat because I don't think I've ever done that on StreamYard. If you want to join us. But anyways, let me talk about my #1 Foxbody hazard. And somebody had actually mentioned this in the comments. Number 2 was the fuel pressure regulator going bad and popping the vacuum off and spraying your engine bay down with fuel. But in tangent with that, whatever, injectors, seat, O-rings, and even those stupid little 5/16 bolts or the metric M8-6, whatever you want to call them. So, Foxbody guys, and this goes for you even with your trick flow rails and your aeromotive rails and what have you. Your fuel pump, your fuel pressure your fuel rails and your injectors and your O-rings must seat. And they need to be like you could put an injector in, and if it doesn't like come down, and you could see it kind of line up with the holes on your lower intake. I've had injectors pop off my car and spray my car down. Luckily, it didn't cost any fire, but these are known. What happens is over time is these lower intakes, those bolts loosen up on the fuel rails. And you're talking about 40 PSI plus 50, 60 PSI. That's pretty good. So your injectors and your fuel rails will actually pop off and spray your motor down and literally hit your exhaust and everything. And it's just fire at that point. A lot of engine fires happen because injector rails and injectors have shitty O-rings or they're not tightened down correctly. Guys, if you have a lower intake and you're rebuilding your car and one of them there's only 2 on each side that hold your rails down. If one of them don't tighten down, good 20 torque or whatever, one of them stripped or they're just faulty or whatever, go get it fixed. You can't run a whole rail on one bolt, even though you might think you'd be able to. A lot of engine bays. Do not buy a crank, a pallet. Do not buy a crank, a pallet. What the hell is that? Caleb in the house, Foxcast Media. Yeah, sparks will fly, my friend. Sparks will fly. Period. End of story. Now let me do this. What does this mean? Does that pin it? Stars it. Huh. So yeah, I mean, that's just the type of things we're looking at with these cars nowadays. You know what I mean? So how do I add somebody here? Oh yeah. So that would be the number one. So let's go back through real quick, and then we'll get back into chat, boys. I'll see you later, Funky. Fuse box, battery cables, AC wide open throttle relay. Definitely the GT headlight switch. That shit will melt you down. Ignition, same thing. Those are GT. I'd have to say that GT headlight switch and ignition are probably 1 and 2, along with the fuel injector rails. Definitely seating problem. Check your SIG harness, alarms, and the plugs that attach to it. Do the zip tie trick. Fuel pump relay under the seat all corroded up. Man, these are stuff this is experience that I've dealt with on hundreds of these Fox bodies, and it's just garbage. It sucks. What's up, Infamous Project in the house, man? We got a whole bunch of famous people here today. We had Blue Oval Media earlier. We got Foxcast or we got Caleb from Foxcast. We got Chris from Infamous Project. Funky 50. Dude, I appreciate you guys coming in, man. Listen to me talk and be ridiculous. Hanlon Motorsports in the house. The current. I'm not gonna say that. How you feeling, though, Hanlon? You feeling pretty good now? I know you're coming in with the sickness. Hope you're feeling good. I hope your family's feeling good right now. So, anyways, the tip up there in well, he's not in Canada no more. He's in Texas. He did a pretty fire. You know, I like those how-to videos, man. I'll sit there and watch those all day. He had my shirt on. Super appreciate it. I'm gonna have to get another shirt from you. It's in my black. I thought it was in my black car when we exchanged them there at Foxtoberfest. I mean, you did litter my car with tip stuff. It was funny. Same Illuminatis for sure. Here we go. Anybody heard from Nakia? You guys just got to be patient with B. All right. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. My mother was very, very sick early December, and I can understand. You know, thankfully she pulled through, and I'm just, you know, I'm sorry for B and his family. You know, just got to be patient. That's all. Let him do his live streams. You know, be very, you know, supportive in the live streams to him. He gonna be back. I'm gonna tell you guys, if anybody's talked to Brutal more than Foxcast, or as much as Foxcast, well, actually, him and Caleb talk more than I do with him. But you know, we all talk a lot, and you know, we know him pretty well. He gonna come back strong. He loves Foxbodies, guys. He's just got to go. You got to go through some stuff first. That's all. So, shout out to him, man. I hope everything gets better for you soon, my friend. What you boxing up for me, bro? Hey, I sent Tip a text message yesterday. One of the shittiest parts about redoing dashes is the fact that Cousin Paul, if he's still here in chat, he absolutely hates this center vent. The center vents are always busted. And it was funny. I was watching Tip's show, and he's like, well, at least I got 7 of the 8 tabs. And I just laughed. But I ended up getting my center vents in from NPD, and they actually have an E4ZC number on them. The E4 or E7, whatever, E6, whatever. And it's nice because I'm able to, you know, I'm able to actually replace. I got so many dashes that are missing center vents and like knee bolsters that can be restored and cleaned and stuff, and dyed and whatever. But I'm just happy that I found it. Just filled out an application for Autorama. Nice. Neo, we need another burnout video at 15K subscribers. Man, what am I going to do that in the snow? Brutal is hardcore Family Guy. Yes, sir. We are all here for him, and he's in a tough situation for him. He'll be back strong, man. I'm telling you guys, I talk to him often enough on the side that, you know, I miss talking to him. You know, I do. And I hope is, you know, he's going to come back strong with that. You guys know how he plays, man. He wants, Foxbody content is his passion. You know what I mean? You guys know. I would feel bad painting that red. No, I'm not going to paint that red. I'm going to use that thing with a white marker, and we're going to paint that thing black. Hell yeah. So what I would like to try to do, what I wanted to try to do, is I wanted to try to bring. Are you in a position, Caleb, to come into the live stream for a minute so I can try to duo this thing up? Group layout, shift +3. I don't know. I'm trying to do something different here. I'm trying to learn how to do that. Working hard in FTO details as we speak. Yeah, let's go. Hey, so I can, you know, if you need some help with that or have any questions or want me to be part of something like that, just let me know. So anybody got some questions for me? We're about an hour and 10 in. What's some other things? Like, you know, the radio wiring harness was one of them. You know, Tip, you're here in chat. You do a lot of restoration like I do. I mean, just wiring just everywhere. Oh, shit. I think Foxcast, didn't you tell me this? The quick disconnects on the fuel pump relay, excuse me, the fuel rails themselves of the lower intake, and the quick disconnects from the soft line to hard lines definitely need to, it should have a little black retainer clip, but those things are always well known for popping out as well as spraying fuel all over your dash. I can't tonight, but we need, all right, that's fine. You could fire one up. But Neo, you're a football guy, Bama or Georgia? I'll plead the fifth. Anyway, so I do think Caleb mentioned that in my comments section. So that's a good one. The quick connects on the fuel rails. Guys, will stock engine run fine with a 70mm throttle body? Yes. It'll run just fine. So maybe next week we can bring in somebody. I could bring in a couple guys, actually, if I wanted to, but maybe we'll bring in somebody. I was going to ask my buddy Harold from Trick Flow to pop in. And I know you probably he watches this stuff once in a while. Maybe Mike from Ram, Andrew with you, maybe Chris from Vengeance. We could do, you know, Foxcast Media. We can do Brutal when he comes back with the content, or come back to YouTube. We can do a lot of things. We could bring people in and we could come up with a good formula or something like we're talking about right here, and we could have some pretty fire live streams in here. You know what I mean? I mean, we could bring Tip in here. We can bring Blue Oval Media. It'd be crazy. You know what? Because that's kind of where I want to go with my live streams. I want to be able to actually invite people in. I haven't done it yet because this is only the second time I've actually done a StreamYard. But, you know, we could come in and talk about something, you know, that's happening in the Ford world or in the Foxbody world, or something, you know, with car parts or turbo builds or Coyote Swaps. I have no idea what I'm doing with Coyote Swaps. So that's something that we could talk about. We could talk about Terminator swaps, which is super cool. You know, I would definitely love to have a long live stream talking to maybe Kenny Sean about some of the ups and downs that he went through with the KSD notch. That's a good topic on, you know, price wise, money wise, you know, just shit that he had to go through to get that thing to work right. We might have to talk at Tip once in a. Oh, so I was Tip. You should put that on the back of your shirt. You and like kind of just chilling with your hat next to your Dutch coupe. That would be dope. Yes, light vice grip. Okay, so at Neo, which motor would you recommend in a 93 notch for a strictly street-driven car? None of those. 347 is your borderline Badass motor, my man. 393. Woo! 393. If you're going to do a 393, you might as well do a 408. Don't do a 393 if you don't have to. If you're going to go aftermarket block, obviously those are production blocks. So 363 is out of the question. Then I would run a stock bottom end, man. At 331, I'd run a stock bottom end, bro, all day. Street driven car. Guys, listen, don't go out there trying to shoot the moon on horsepower. Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm telling you, Foxcast will probably agree with me. Tip, Blue Oval, they got, Foxcast got a Coyote Swap that makes about 450 wheel. Man, 450 wheels all you need for the street if you're just going to street drive it. You get past 500, you're going to start losing the ability to actually drive the damn thing. My black car is kind of tough to drive on the street. If it's even remotely wet, at 650, 700, that thing's going to be all over I'm spinning ain't winning. What's up, Brad for Rods? Good to see you, my man. New live stream sounds awesome. I appreciate that. Neo Mustangs. Tuning the turbo push rods. What's the best way to go? Well, you just did the micro squirt on that little green car. I'm surprised you went micro squirt though. It doesn't run right. We just run A9L, man. Factory harness A9L chipped. You should probably let me know what you got, Caleb, and just text me or whatever. Let me know the details on the injectors and math that you're running. I probably could write a tune for you. It'll be close. I don't know. That guy's pretty good that he tuned it, isn't it? I agree. There are 6 or 7, 10 peeps. All of us follow. It would be awesome to get y'all. I've been talking to Caleb and Brutal about that for a while now. And actually, Kenny Sean texted me a few days ago. I just actually replied to him. He said, "Hey, you want to do a stream together?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So it's definitely something that we would not do every Sunday, but we could do on like a scheduled thing, like once a month. I think I had mentioned it to Caleb. Caleb has StreamYard as well, and he did it on Thanksgiving Day, which so happens to be the day that I tested positive on COVID. Thanks, Caleb. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I had no idea. Wasn't feeling good that day, but I wasn't going to miss a stream with my buddy. My cars are too low. Listen, your car has like hydraulics. it's pretty dope. I love that stuff. I'm from the 80s, baby. They used to do this. So binary, yes. So Foxcast asks, so binary, we had a micro squirt already, which is why we used it. There's nothing wrong with micro squirt. They just don't idle right. You know what I mean? Idle sucks. Okay, we got a question from a chat. I got a question. I got a 255 4019 on my Fox. You got a 19 on there? Drag pack of a 2014. Now I got a 255 4017 up front and a 275 rear with 95 axles. Can I get a 255 4019 on my Fox? That'd be tough. It's the turning radius, man. It's just the turning radius on these Fox bodies just aren't there. And if your wheel starts to get too big in the back, like it's the same problem that we have when we race. And, if RGG's still here in the chat, I know he races quite a bit. I think he's on a 28 slick as well. And the thing about the 28 slick on a GT is I got to actually cut things to get that tire to fit. You see what I'm saying? So I would stick to 18s. 19s look good. And there's people that's done 19s, but like I'm about to buy some NVXs. So, and I'm definitely going to go, I just gave it away, but definitely going to be, rolling on 18s this year, I think. We're going to keep the same wheels we got on Black Car, but I don't know. I got some things coming up. Profile those tires is too tall for 19s. That's what I'm saying. Tip would know that. That's a good question for Tip because, guys, we all have our own little angles. And let me tell you what, outside of the restoration and putting cars together like Chris does at the Infamous Project, he has a lot of knowledge in like the kind of like the style, the lowering, the fitments. Does that make sense? So make sure you go check out his channel. I have 19s coming this week. I'll show you how to make them look good. There you go. Perfect. So anyways, I hope my guys, again, this whole video was about making you guys cognizant. There's just no way. Listen, I can't make a 20-minute video talking about 10 things that'll make a car catch on fire. Because to be honest with you, it's just going to be like, it's just going to be boring. So it's one of the reasons why I thought about doing, on top of my normal content, doing like 2 or 3 minute, like I call it TikTok videos, to where I'm TikToking how to work on a Foxbody. And I'm talking about basic shit. I'm talking about taking the hood off, taking a door off, taking a dash out, taking a console out, literally no thumbnail, title, I'll upload it with my phone type stuff, like Tech Tuesday shit. I talked about doing this a long time ago, but, I'm only a one-man band here, so. Of course you do. Do you recommend a quarter horse? I do. Problem with the quarter horse is learning binary at this stage. Finding somebody who knows how to tune really well, that's the key. My guy over here at the TI Dyno, Craig and Otto, he's a really good friend of mine. Dave's probably one of my best friends. He's probably watching right now. And we call him the mad scientist. That guy's been around before binary. He was tuning binary in beta phase. So he knows a lot. He's helped a lot of the quarter horse in the transition of binary editor. You see what I mean? Because he knows all the important people that made it all happen. So Tech Tuesdays, that's right. There you go. My Mega Squirt idle is mint now. Do you email tunes? I do not. We were going to actually do, if you guys are interested, I'm telling you, I could pre-qualify your car. We could do a dyno day where me and the mad scientist Dave, we'll tune your car. I'll pre-qualify your car, and we can make a whole dyno day of it too. And I'll make a video. I'll set the live stream up right there at the dyno shop, where it just live streams for 8 hours of us just fooling around, tuning on Foxbody. There's so many things you can do with live stream, and there's so many things you can do on YouTube. Matter of fact, Chris was telling me that he used to live stream on his channel a while back, or at least, I don't know, was it Instagram or whatever you were telling me about at Foxtoberfest? So I thought that was pretty cool. It's definitely not something new. NBXs are going to look good on the back. Yeah, it will. LMR states that you run a 17, that if you run a 17-inch or 18-inch on an LX, you need a spacer to swap everything to GT spindles. Is that true? I run spacers anyway, so I guess. I'm sorry, I don't mean to not answer your question, but to be honest with you, I just did a video with the fat ass tires or whatever. I use an array of backspacing plus spacer size plus lug bolt length, whatever. Blake depends on offset. That's right. So, what do we have coming up for the channel this week? Well, you guys see it behind me. I know some of you guys have been waiting to see, waiting for me to mess with Dad's car again. Obviously, the last time we touched it, the car was running. It runs just fine now. We haven't went to the dyno yet to see how much more horsepower it is over the stock engine that we had in it that was on its way out. But somebody had asked earlier in the stream, so I'm sorry if I missed you, but we talked about going nitrous or going supercharged back on the car if the AFR is correct. We're probably going to go with a turbo at about 8 pounds. And then we're going to do like the supercharger versus turbo. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll put the supercharger back on and see if I can beat it. All through speed density. If anything, this car is going to get the Terminator, one of the two Terminator X's I have over there on the shelf, because I'm not going to switch a speed density car to Mass Air if I got a Terminator X sitting on the shelf. So that's kind of where we're at. Ball joint spacers, yeah. Binary editor and quarter horse are awesome. You can attempt to learn it yourself. There's a lot of tunes out there. I've contacted 3 shops near me. None of them want to mess with binary. That's because it's hard. It's like, it definitely, I probably popped a couple head gaskets on my learning phase. 99 spindles probably used a bump steer. Is that what you're talking about, Tip? Yeah, Pimp's not a bad setup. Stinger, Pimp, is that the same thing? Pretty sure it is. You could schedule to come up. I mean, we're here in Northeast Ohio, Daniel Rose, to buy a chip. You just come up here and we'll just tune it. Rattle Trap Fox at Foxcast. I'm sure you'll have a setup Coyote Swap E85, but if you haven't, you should. Old girl runs way cooler and picked up a lot more ponies. He's trying to tell you go E85, big boy. You should. I'm surprised you don't run E85. Do you have E85 around you, Caleb, if you're still here? You have that down there. You have that right there across the street, didn't you, from where you had your show? Oh, yeah. We're make sure you guys set your dates. What is that, the 10th and the 11th? Am I right? Yeah. June 10th and June 11th is Fox Ford Takeover. Almost said it wrong. Ford Takeover. So if you guys put this down on your, you guys can make it. It'd be nice. Caleb's a good friend of mine, so Ford Takeover is June 10th and 11th down in Tennessee. So get a chance to come down there and meet. Tip, are you running the Ford Takeover this year or not? You're in Texas, so I would imagine you would, right? You get the chance to see a lot of your a lot of content creators go to that. Yeah, we'll get a live stream soon together, Chris, for sure. I'd like to talk to I'd like to get everybody, get not all at once, but we could do like a live stream with Tip. I could do a live stream with Blue Oval. I can do a live stream with Caleb and Brutal. It's whatever, man. We have a good time. Talk about whatever. That's right. I'm trying to race a little bit, have a little bit of fun. What exactly happens at Ford Takeover? Okay, so there's a lot of people that go down early. I think at Funky 50 went down like on Tuesday. Crazy dude. I'm probably going to go down on Wednesday, but Thursday is like a pre-meet. I think just people just getting together. Friday is like a dyno day. There's a cruise. There's another pre-meet on Friday night. Probably going to be some racetrack action going on that night. Definitely in for that. And then Saturday, we all cruise again. We meet at the parking lot. We all cruise again to the Trek, where we set up like a swap meet. We set up a big vendor hall. Well, whatever, line of vendors. And it's a big car show. Huge. I think we had 750 or 800 last time. It was a lot. That's a good idea, Neo. Instead of just letting the same people over and over don't even know anything about working on cars. So that's a good idea. Instead of just letting the same people over and over. Yeah, War Admiral, you're going to bring a trailer to your car down and assume, yep. So I would imagine that, I think last year at Ford Takeover, I came down, I was there late on Friday, but I was down there Saturday. I think the content creators, like if you guys watch a lot of YouTube, Foxcast was running the event and Nakia was one of his main sponsors, Brutal. And I was there. RGG was there. Funky 50 was there. Gearhead 704 was there. Just to name a few. There was a handful of them. There was a bunch of people down there. And there's going to be even more this year. Blue Oval Media, my fault. Blue Oval Media was there with Darius, who also Mario brought his car as well, which is that monster Bimini blue coupe. That's amazing. Did you guys see that toy he got for Christmas? It's like the exact replica of his car. That's amazing. 86 Vert, do I have to switch to MAF, or should I put a cam in my 302 all stock motor? You can't put a cam in a speed density car. If you put a cam in it, it's got to be a Ford cam. Like I got a Cobra cam in my speed density car back here, and runs just fine. But yeah, I see what you're talking about downhill. Hoping I can get my wife and Mario's mini tub, and I seen that. Big Stick Stangs. Hold on. Blake Myers. Hoping to get my wife and kids in the notch and ride over there in Jackson. All right. Big Stick Stangs. Hey, Neo in chat. I'm rebuilding my 50 out of my 91. body cam for it. What lifters do you recommend? Man, just get the Trick Flow factory replacements. Don't overthink the lifters. If you want to get some link bars, if you get some link bars, get some like Morel. They're like $600. Those lifters will last forever. Mustangs, okay. We can all carpool, buddies. Taking our big trailer down, I can take my car. Trying to get some of that nice racing down there. If it rains, I'm gonna be so mad. But like I said, you know, we had that pre-meet on Friday, and I think everybody had gone at about 7 because the cops started running us out of the. Nobody got in trouble or hurt. Started running us out of the parking lot, which is going to be in a different location this time. I'm pretty sure. I think that's what Caleb had said. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we're trying to figure out some sort of track thing Friday night-ish. Maybe, I mean, it's in the middle of the summer in Tennessee. So air is going to be mint all the way to midnight. So I know how tracks work as far as insurance is concerned. So if he's running an event on Friday, he has insurance until midnight. Maybe we can catch a 4 or 5 hour block on some TNT on Friday night, have some fun at the track right before we go to, you know, before we go to, you know, the cruise in the morning. What's up, GS 4062? Damn rain. That's right. Frank James, dude, this is cool. You're live. ABS, abs, passionate about muscle cars. That's right. I am passionate about muscle cars. And so aren't all my sponsors and my friends that are also on YouTube you probably follow as well. So shout out to all those guys that showed up today. Blue Oval Media came in first. My dude Kenny Sean, Foxcast Media, Caleb Richards, Chris from Infamous Project. Who else did we have in chat? Funky 50. You know, you have a couple big Instagram people here with T-Top Thomas and War Admiral 363. Got Hanlon Motorsports in the house. Got Donnie B here, was here a minute ago. I don't know where he went. Man, I love those halos going to that way. All right. It's Sean that had the green boss from Thompson. What's up, Sean? You keeping our streets safe up there in Cleveland? Shout out to you, my man, being a first responder. I appreciate you. How long do the cruises go? Okay, so the cruises at Ford Takeover are short. We do cruise on the Friday. If it's still going to be the same event, there's going to be a big dyno challenge. It's probably going to be most of Friday. That's about a 15-mile cruise. It's not very far. And then to the track's another 15 or 10 miles. It's not far cruises, so you don't have to worry about your car overheating. Neil, what's the max horsepower ET for a boosted stock bottom end? Man, you gonna make me answer that question? All right, so max horsepower, stock bottom end, it all depends on your tune, my friend. And then how fast it goes in the ET all depends on how much the car weighs. So, case in point, if you got a good tune running on E85, stock bottom end can make 600 wheel and stay there. Around about 10 pounds, 12 pounds of boost on a good stroker. Oh, wait, with stock bottom end, what am I talking about? You can make up to about 600 on a good tune. It's got to be a good tune. Keep the motor below 6,200. Make sure your harmonic balancer is good. You know what I mean? Because harmonics will kill your motor. Neil, I think I missed it earlier. I took your advice and milled that header. Warped like crazy. Told you. Every on-3 header I've ever put my fingers on was warped. I put my straight edge on it. So all we do is we have it milled. Actually, we just take it to a belt sander, and it's not that hard. You go to a belt sander, and you just let them people at the machine shop do their magic. They don't take a whole lot off. You see what I'm saying? There's not a whole lot that comes off. But, you know, it's nice and straight. That way you could literally just, you know, put the exhaust gasket sealer on it and put it on the head and be done with it. Got about 5 more minutes left, and I'm going to kill the stream. Been a really, really good stream. I hope you guys enjoyed the information. And we BS towards the end. So if you guys got any more questions, hit me with it. So I live in Newark. You're saying if I get a quarter horse, I can bring it up to you. We can give you a quarter horse up here. You just bring it up here. We'll tune it. Downhill Daddy. Hey, Neil, are you against putting a GM trans in a Fox? I plead the fifth on that, but not against it. You're talking about a Turbo 400? Yeah, that's Dad's car. It doesn't look terrible. It's a good 10-footer. Blue Cob, local tool. Every header I have seen has been worked. That's correct. Belt sander, nice coarse belt sander, 120 grit. You know, just you can see it straighten itself out, because the best thing to do to your header is to paint it. If it's not painted, just take some header paint and paint it. Let it dry and take it to a belt sander. That paint, wait until that paint is all off. That's how you know it. I mean, you can put a straight edge on it, but just like kind of eye it in. You know what I mean? Lewis, thanks for the advice on the live. Looking forward to keep. All right, man. I appreciate you coming in, Lewis. I appreciate I think you hooked me up a little bit with a super chat. Big Six Things, just put a double knitted halos in the notch. All right. Man, that Neil Mustang's banner on Pop's car looked like a Fig Newton's banner. And shake and bake, baby. Shake and bake. Speaking of shake and bake, we have a giveaway still to give. Let me get back with Mike Johnson, but Ryan O'Shea didn't get a chance to. The 417 Fox gave a $100 gift certificate out for Fox Days of Christmas, and it wasn't claimed. So we will have a giveaway next week with 417 Fox. Matter of fact, I'll probably bring 417 Fox into the stream for a little bit if you guys don't care. And it also, I have to check with him on his time or whatever, and then maybe I'll have him give it away. So, anyways, outside of that, shout out, huge shout out to Hanlon Motorsports, one of my sponsors. They're also a channel member. Obviously, they're in green. The people in green are my members. Welcome, T-Top Thomas, to the membership, my dude. I'm 42 and I'm super excited for Foxbody fetching the money they deserve. That is absolutely correct. Yeah, so we're going to be, I think what he's actually, we got something in store for you, Ryan. So you're not 100% out, because that's just not the way I play the game. So come in next week for me. Hit that like. Okay, so yes. Donated, subscribed, power, Foxbody. I don't know what that is, but I think that has something to do with at Neo Mustangs. I'm watching my other live stream go crazy over here because I haven't flipped over to it. All right. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you you watching the live stream. We will get back at it this week. I got a super boring video with how you can make your T5s to stop leaking. I know nobody's going to listen. I don't care about the views at this point. I'm going to get views organically, whether somebody watches it or not. I do appreciate the support when you do watch it. I do like to see that actual progression in my channel, but I'm going to make a small short video this week with how to get your T5 to stop freaking leaking. And I think the other video that we're going to do this week is we're going to take this to the dyno. We ain't been to the dyno in a while, and I know you guys are super interested to find out what my Fobra motor made, right? So, Jason Fields, I appreciate the super sticker, my guy. Man, you've been consistently supporting the channel the last couple of weeks, man, and I appreciate the reoccurrence. Where are you located? Northeast Ohio. Thanks, Neil, for all you do. Yep, I appreciate you, Nicholas. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and end the stream there, guys. Again, I appreciate the watch time. Got a couple videos coming up, and I'm going to try to end that right now. One more second. So headlights or Fox and love. Just down to my 89, it did not blow up. All right. I will see you guys. I appreciate everybody who supported the channel today, whether big or small. I appreciate the new members that come to the channel. So hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys soon.